I feel like dating is hard because we have a lot of options out there these days.
Being physical does not mean sleeping with each other.
How can you be intentional about one person and you're so open to the whole world? Can we define intention, please?
How can a man be seeing one woman, but then he's open to elsewhere? Because who he sleeps with is not who he's taking seriously.
And the men are not struggling so much with commitment. I think what we're seeing is that a lot of women are struggling to get commitment from the caliber and quality of man they really desire.
This event is sponsored by Stay Slick with Kids. And please give a warm welcome to your host for this evening. Kim, are we ready? I can see you're typing something. Kit and Sukaina. Let's go.
Thank you, Mario.
Wow.
Appreciate you. Thank you. Look at this beautiful crowd. Hello, Ken. Come. How's everyone doing today? How are we doing? Everyone's looking, you guys are looking very delicious. You're looking very good. Looking so good. We are here to address something very important.
Yes, we are.
Why is dating so hard? Why is dating so hard? So, Sukaina, why don't you start with what are your thoughts, your opening statement? Why is dating so hard today?
Well, I feel like dating is my mic working.
Oh, let me get this. Use mine for now.
Great start.
Yes.
I feel like dating is hard because we have a lot of options out there these days. Social media, dating apps. I feel like we're spoilt for choice. And when we have so many options, I feel like we just can't think straight. We can't pick. We're not being intentional because there's just so many options out there. But then we always say it's like an illusion of options, right? Because how many of those options are actually real?
It's true. I actually think I think ladies have that problem of a lot of options. I think the problem that men and women have is actually very different. I think men have a lack of options. Many men lack the opportunity with the kind of women that they actually want, right? Most men don't get a look in, can't even get a date. I think a lot of women can get the opportunity, but they're not getting a commitment, the intention, right? Is he serious? What's he doing? So if some of you have seen my podcast, my episode, I always like to start with a question, but actually this isn't going to be a you watching the show. We actually want it to be involved. So can all of you, please turn to someone next to you, in front of you, behind you, someone you met this evening, and tell them one thing about you they should know if you were going to go on a date.
We love it.
Okay, yes. Thank you. People get a lovely attitudes.
We love it.
All right, guys. Welcome, my boss. Thank you so much. See, now we're not strangers anymore, right? We're not strangers anymore. So, like I said, I always like to start my podcast this way. So, Sukaina, what's one thing a guy should know about you if he's going to take you on a date?
Well, I want to do something fun. So I don't like boring dates. I want a man who thinks out of the box, surprise me.
Okay. So because I think a lot of guys, please feel free to chime in. We have a third mic that's roaming. A lot of guys here, make sure you're making the effort on the first date. Make sure you take her out somewhere really nice. Is that not work today anymore?
I'm a bit bored of that.
Oh, really?
I go to fancy dinners quite a lot and I'm just over that now. Okay. I want something different, pick an activity, maybe go to an event. Maybe go to a pasta making class or something. I want something different, So I want something fun where we can actually bond.
Yeah.
And I can see how you are in, certain environments. I think that's important when you're dating.
Yeah.
Because when you just go for dinner with someone, it's very intimate. And sometimes people get really nervous in intimate settings. So I feel like when you pick an activity-based date, you can show your personality a bit more. You can tease each other a bit more. You can be just relax. You can relax into it.
So what made you get to this point? Because I think a lot of women, sometimes they express, and ladies chime in, that they like a guy making an effort, take her to a really fancy place, especially in a city like London. I know some of the guys, you're like, oh, this is what they think a lot of women expect from them. So is that wrong to say? Do women actually expect that, or do they expect something else now?
To be honest, I feel like women kind of expect that because they think that is maybe the standard. Stay with me.
Okay, go for it.
I feel like we're kind of taught that, men need to sweep you off your feet and they need to be super romantic. So we think straight away 5-star dinner, Michelin restaurant, Paris on the first night, that's what we're kind of aiming for.
Yeah.
But really, I think what women want is they want to see, is the guy comfortable? Can he hold his own? Like, does he make you feel comfortable? Like, can you have fun with him?
Yeah.
That's really what women want. And I don't feel like you need to go to a fancy dinner to see that. I actually think it's about the intention.
Interesting.
That's what it is for me. I think when I see a man has actually planned a date and he's thought about it, he's gone out of his way, he's thought out of the box, I'm impressed.
Okay, I hear that. Show of hands in the audience, gents. How many of you feel that there's been this expectation for you to sweep a woman off her feet? Has anyone ever felt that before?
Come on.
No? Okay, there we go. If you,
Don't be shy.
Kind of. Okay. I'm really curious, right? And if we've got a third mic, I think we've got a third mic somewhere. Do we have a third mic? Yeah. I'd be really curious. Can one of the guys put their hands up? Where did this expectation that you felt you had to sweep a woman off her feet, where did that come from? You had a hand over here. Javen, I think, as well. We've got the teeth over here. So let's go to the teeth. Go, you're on mic behind you.
I think it's a perfectly normal expectation to have. I hope there's anything wrong with that. But I think the important thing is to be the inspiration for a man to want to do that. And I think that's where it starts. It starts with that initial communication to see if your personalities are entwined, to see if, there's a common ground. And if there is, and if the communication is good for that period of time, then that inspiration would, that would give the man the inspiration to say, do you know what? Actually, I quite like how the conversation's gone with this person. Let's evolve further. And that's when your example of that day is perfect, because I feel that then inhibitions are lost a little bit, we're more relaxed, and then you get to the core a lot faster. A lot of pretentiousness happens over a 5-course meal.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's not necessarily the real fabric. So I think even a game of bowling, even a game of snoots, even teaching her to do something or her teaching you to do something, is really, it could make a big difference.
I hear you. I love that. We have one in the front here. Thank you for your contribution. We appreciate you. Mr. Hazard, looking fresh. How are you today?
I'm very thank you, sir.
What do you think?
I think it depends on your life stage as well. I think the sweeping off feet when you're dining is very much a princess stage. And there's nothing wrong with that. When you're in your 20s, that's the expectation. But I think you've kind of been through that transition of, you've done all of that, actually 0 results. You're looking for something a little bit more relatable, down to earth, and where you can really have a deeper connection. And I came across some research actually not too long ago about setting up the first date as romance. And that's actually the last thing you should do, because there's all sorts of trauma bonding associated with romantic first dates. So I think it depends on where you're at. Like for me, I feel like, if a woman in my age, 40s, is still looking for that sweep me off on my feet, because that's a red flag.
Oh, red flag.
He said,
You know what? I'm not even mad at that. I'm not even mad at that. Sukaina, what do you think about it? Is if a woman is, more seasoned in life, but she's still in that, I want that sweep me off my feet kind of fairy tale mentality that maybe a lot of women in their 20s have, what do you think that might say?
I mean, look, I always say to women, you've got to get very specific on what you're looking for. And I think it's about knowing what you want in a connection. So for example, if you want a man who is down to earth, easygoing, then what are you really trying to see on this dinner date? 5-star dinner, like he's going to be a bit nervous. He's going to be trying to put his best foot forward. So I always tell women, get specific. What are the qualities that you want to see in a man? and then look at like how he's planning that date and how he's going to show up on that date.
Yeah, I hear you. I think the ladies may disagree with me on that.
That's fine.
I think the first date should be very low stakes. I think it should be like a coffee date. Someone's going to roll their eyes. And the reason I say this, especially if this is woman, this is the first time you're meeting her. As a man, you don't know if you want to take this woman out. You don't know. You don't know her, right? And equally, especially as a woman, you don't know whether you want to commit to starter, main, and dessert with this man, right? Especially because a lot of men, especially if, you know, if a woman has an expectation of that fancy stuff, a lot of men, you know, rightfully or wrongfully so, can go, okay, well, you have this expectation of me. This is the expectation I have of you, right? I.e., you're coming home with me tonight, right? But if we created, and here's the thing I'd say as well, and this is something that a lot of guys have adapted to the market with, right, in terms of modern dating, is because the same way a lot of women are trying to mitigate, okay, is he just using me for my body, for my sexual attention, all of that? Guys are trying to mitigate for, is she just using me for my time, attention, experiences? And as guys, we know if a woman's actually genuinely interested, she'll meet with you for a coffee. She'll meet with you for a coffee. Does anyone disagree in the audience? Facts. Okay, we have facts. We have facts over here. Go, Sukaina, talk to us. What do you think?
I have a bit of an issue with that.
Tell us how it is.
I'll explain why I have an issue with that, because that's kind of telling women that they shouldn't have their standards. And I don't like that, because I feel like women should have their standards. And if your standards are high, keep them high. If you can deliver, if you know what you bring to the table. So I feel like some women, they do have very high standards. But I just think as long as you know yourself and you know that you are also bringing a lot to the table, then there's nothing wrong with you wanting that in a man. So for example, I have a lot of female clients who will not go on coffee dates. And it's not because she's looking for someone that's rich and she wants to rinse him. It's more just that she wants to see that he actually puts in effort. That's what women want to see. And I said that before, it's about the intention. You can plan a cost-effective date. You don't need to break the bank, fellas. You can take a woman out to a nice, cute brunch. That's effort. And that's what women want to see, okay? It's not about going to the Ritz. It's just about the intent and the effort, okay? Has work gone into planning that date? Because ultimately, you're there to impress someone. She's there to impress you. And don't worry, she's going to play her part. But fellas, you need to lead, right? You need to lead if you want the woman to follow you.
That's a good point. Does any ladies want to add to that about having that standard for the first date? Any ladies in the audience want to add to that? Yes, we have over here. Could we get the mic over here, please? Front row. Front row, the way. Thank you. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi everyone, I'm Bex. And I like to be put in my feminine energy.
Yes.
I'm a primary school teacher. I do boxing. I'm a voluntary police officer. A lot of these things involve a lot of masculine energy. And I really, the last great date I went on, the guy had arranged a nice restaurant at Waterloo. He booked it. When we got there, he said his name, and I was just impressed that he'd even gone to the effort of booking it in advance. And that made me feel like a woman. And when the bill came, obviously it was lovely that he offered to pay it all. I did say I'd pay my part, but it left a very good first impression on me. And it made me want to see him again, as well as the great chat he also had. So being put in my feminine energy, it was just such a good first impression. And to take me on a coffee date, I don't think that would have the same effect.
Good for you.
Very, very, very interesting. Yes, we have one over here. Thank you so much, Bex. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
You like it?
Oh, I love that. Yes. She's ready.
Hi everyone, my name is Kate.
Hello, Kayla. Welcome.
I think we have to be careful in the dating world of making generalizations. Ultimately, you are there to find your person. And I think on top of effort, it's about understanding me as an individual and vice versa. So the first date can be anything if I feel like you've taken the time to get to know me first and foremost, and you've planned a date based on me. So to the point about being gold digger or whatever, if you as a man are leading with 5-course meal, I will also question what substance you have behind the money. So for me, it's about away from the stereotypes and the misconceptions and the generalizations. Who are we as people? To me, the first date should be an insight into that. So if you're an introvert, take me on a coffee date because that's who you are. I want to see who you are. If you're an extrovert and you come alive in, a group setting, then take me to a restaurant and order wine and show me that part of you. For me, your first date should be about exploring something that we can't get over text or over a dating app. I want to learn something about you. And I don't think the setting really matters if that is highlighted. So, yeah.
Perspective. Very good. Very good. I love that. Sukaina, I'm going to give the floor to you. And you have some things you want to talk about. Oh, yeah. Can we collect mine? I think it's coming over here. What's something you want to bring to the table today?
Yeah. Well, that kind of got me thinking, how do you think dating apps and social media and just online dating in general has really impacted how we form connections today?
Such a good question. Well, it really highlights, it's more about just what you are on paper. That's what it leads with. It's about, I think for a lot of men, it's about, okay, his looks, his status, the lifestyle. It looks like he can provide, doesn't mean he necessarily can.
Yeah.
And for women, of course, it's just, focus mainly on the looks. There is an illusion of options. Most men don't get a lot of matches. There's a very small percentage of men who get a lot of the matches. And I think that's why a lot of women can find that they may or may not realize, but I think this is why the group, are we dating the same man? Because a lot of them were, right? Because they're all matching with the same man. But interesting enough, and I'd love to pose it to the audience, what do you think the biggest dating app is?
Is it Hinge? I feel like that's the one that everyone talks about now. Did you say Greg?
Someone said it over there. Go and can you just say that out loud? Yeah, I think you said it. Instagram is the biggest dating app.
Really?
100%.
So is that why the guys want the girls off Instagram?
I think this whole Insta bad is definitely a thing. What do you think dating apps have done for? And this is a vulnerable question, but do you think dating apps has set a different kind of standing and expectation of women? And maybe I can answer for men, and if you, the men can answer as well.
I mean, definitely. I feel like it's definitely made everyone more shallow, for sure. I think at the end of the day, you're getting judged on a profile. You put a couple of pictures, you write a few little prompts, and now suddenly someone's deciding whether I'm a great person or not. I find that quite bizarre, to be honest. So I don't like that. And I just think it's made people more shallow. It's also made people more impulsive as well. And it's made people unintentional. Because most people are going on these dating apps and they are not being intentional. They are sending out these feeler texts and then dropping off the face of earth. This is why you're matching with people and they're not responding to you. They started a conversation with you and now they've ghosted you because they spoke in a moment. They took a decision on impulse. They weren't being intentional.
I actually think, I'm going to push back a little bit on that.
Go on. I like it when you do that.
I know. So we're here, right? That's why we're here. I actually think most people want a genuine relationship.
Yeah.
I think it just happens that the people who get the most matches tend to be the ones who feel like they have all the time in the world to then choose and actually be intentional. I think there's something else about dating apps that doesn't get talked about enough that we all get caught up in, which is the dopamine hit.
Yeah.
That dopamine hit is addictive. Everything on social media today is designed to grab our attention, especially on dating apps. I mean, it's something ridiculous. I think it's 30% of people on dating apps are actually in relationships.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I actually think most of that, half of it may be because they're actually trying to cheat, but I actually think it's for the dopamine hit. It's for the validation of, oh, I'm still attractive. Oh, I can match this person.
Ego boost.
That's an absolute ego boost.
Absolutely.
So my question then on that is, let's say two people met on a dating app. Mm-hmm. At what point in dating do you delete the app?
Oh.
Or is it only when you're in a relationship? At what point do you delete the app?
I mean, I feel like...
Do we delete the app?
I don't know. Here's the thing. I feel like when you go on a date with somebody off a dating app, you need to just assume you're not the only one. That person is going on multiple dates that week. I know people who go on dates, they have like a breakfast date, then they have a lunch date with someone, and then they fit someone in for dinner. That's what people are doing, rotational dating. So I just think it's unrealistic for us to say, all right, you've had one date with me or even 2 dates with me. Now you need to go home and delete the app. I just don't think that's realistic in this coverage.
So at what point would you delete the app?
I think when things start to feel like they are actually going somewhere and there is a level of consistency coming from both of you, where you're both like, okay, we've been on a few dates. I now want to integrate you into my life and I want to start doing this consistently, and you don't feel the need to go on the dating app, then delete it.
So that's based on how you feel,
Yeah,
right?
I think you have to be checking in with yourself.
So
There's no answer for this.
would it be where you delete the app, but maybe they don't because they don't feel ready to?
And then that's a disconnect.
Okay. Would you discuss it with them?
I mean, if you wanted me, you would have deleted the app. So what are we doing here?
Okay, interesting. I'm going to give the floor to one or two gents. What do you think about that? At what point do you decide to delete the app? We've had the team. Let's come to Daniel over here. Can we get the mic over here? Daniel, what do you think?
I think it's a lot more simple. I think it should be simple. I think it just has to be the conversation at some point. You know, guys, we know when we like someone. And I don't care which one of us bring up a conversation, whether it's her or whether it's me. We just have a conversation. Hey, do we feel like deleting this app now? But she goes, yeah. I go, yeah, cool, great. And if one of us don't want to, then we go, okay, cool. Are we happy dating other people or we date each other? It's just a conversation.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes we overcomplicate these situations way too much, which therefore in the end makes it so much more difficult.
Absolutely.
That's my
No, I didn't. Thank you, Daniel.
Up to that, yeah. I'll put a big mouth. I'm a comedian. So
Go on, let's see, baby.
I think we have to realize that we're moving with the times, right? Back in the day, it was a pen and paper thing in a nightclub. That was then. So you're now you're fast forwarding now to the contemporary times, right? I think for me, it's all really about how you navigate that dating app, right? The rules that you set yourself. I have a friend who's very meticulous. He will go on there, he will have a couple of paragraphs of conversation. They'll exchange numbers, and then he would really keep it very consistent from that basis onwards. And then he would now look at the rapport that he's getting from that person that he's speaking to, and he'll use that as a template. So he doesn't really get too caught up in the amount of people. His attention to detail is, okay, if this person likes me, then that level of communication will be very apparent from the off. And then after that, as you build up the consistency, all of a sudden you're going to find yourself opening an app. You don't need to open it, but your attention's already gone somewhere else. That's how you do it. You don't get caught up in the numbers. I think you apply particular attention to detail. That's how you do it. You have to manipulate it. That's the way to do it, in my opinion.
I hear you. Thank you, Nati.
Thank you.
You know what? I think we're underestimating something here. Because some people do get the addictiveness to the dopamine and the hit, right? Because sometimes people will be swiping, not because they're looking for a match, they're just looking for validation. I think the conversation has to be had. And I don't think we can assume. And the reason I say that is because if we measure people through our own standards. So, for example, you literally just said, well, if you really liked me, you would have deleted it. He may not be like that. He may actually like you, but that may not be a standard he moves and operates by.
But then he wouldn't really be for me.
Why is that?
Because I think there's certain things you just know.
See, this is where I think that
I don't feel like we have to
Go on.
always announce things. We don't always need to have conversations. Like, I feel like sometimes you just know you're on the same frequency. You're on the same wavelength.
No. I'll tell you why I think this is very dangerous. I'll tell you why this.
I think you just know. Women's intuition. You just know, right?
So here's what I'll say. I'll fact you. See, where this gets dangerous is when you have a man and woman who are dating each other, right? And this is a generalization, but I generally do believe this is true. When a woman really likes a man, right, she generally becomes physically closed off to everybody else. For a lot of men, it doesn't work that way. The being closed off to everybody else is a decision that he makes. Because a man can enjoy spending time with women, but we know men can separate emotions from sex very easily. So he can really like you,
but he can still sleep with somebody else. However, if for you, you're like, well, when I really like someone, I naturally become exclusive to them, which makes sense, right? And this tends to be a huge difference we see between men and women. A lot of women fall into, okay, well, I assume he's operating the same way because he likes me the same way. Now, he can like you to the same degree, but in terms of how men bond to you, how they commit, like a man's commitment is not the same as a woman's commitment because you naturally become exclusive. For a lot of men, it's a decision that has to be made, which is why the decision and conversation has to be had, right? I want to come to over here, Mussy. You had something over here. Let's get him the mic.
I just wanted to add my 2 cents. I think
Go for it.
if just on conversation of when to be the ad, I don't think it's anyone's business until someone asks someone to be their partner. And then because you're either single or taking, right? So I think what somebody else is doing with their time is not your concern or vice versa. So if I met someone on an app, we're on a few dates, I don't expect her to tell me to do the app. I don't expect to tell her or expect her to do the app until I ask the question. Be my dog. Wait.
Yep.
Right? That
I agree.
it shows you intention and it shows you commitment from the other person. So it's, in my opinion, I don't think it's anyone's business, the other person that needs the app or whether you do. Until you at the very least, have the conversation of, will you be my partner or could we be exclusive? If you haven't had that conversation of, I want you, then you're still single. You just go out on more dates and do whatever you want. It's not the other person concern.
No, I hear that. To add to that, and I've got something I want to ask as well. Sometimes I see a lot of women make the mistake of they judge how far they are based on the connection. Like, we're really connected. I feel really connected to this person. And you can have a great connection with a man. But a relationship is just a set of boundaries to protect that connection. Right? Having a connection does not mean you have a relationship. It does not mean you have a relationship. It's a decision that has to be made.
Yeah.
Did you want to say something to that before I move on?
I feel like I agree with what you said. Like, at the end of the day, if somebody's not making it known to you that, look, I want you to be part of my life and, I don't really want to be seeing anyone else, you're free to do whatever you want, really. Like, I'm sorry, you are. Because if you don't solidify things, you don't really have a leg to stand on. So I kind of agree with that.
Yeah. So I've got a question here. I did a poll out on Instagram. This is one of them. Is it harder as a woman to find commitment today? What do you think?
I'm going to be really honest. I think it's hard to find commitment just in general.
Just the same for men as well?
For everyone. Like,
Okay.
It's really difficult for anyone to find commitment these days because I feel like expectations are really high. Like, a lot. And social media and dating apps and online dating doesn't help either. People have too much choice and it's a lot. I feel like when you have so much choice, you just, you don't know, you can't make a decision. You're just not being intentional. Because if you're meeting like 3 people, I don't know, say you're talking to 3 or 4 people, you're not really putting in effort. You're not really like being intentional. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think, and maybe you guys can chime in, and anyone who watches my content, I always spill the beans. If a man is seeing more than one woman, he's generally intentional with one woman, but the others he isn't. That's how a lot of guys operate.
I don't know.
Is that true?
I don't know.
Guys, let's get a male. Who's brave enough to ask here? We've got King in the back. Let's go to King in the back.
Yeah, let's hear some from the back. They're very quiet at the back, aren't they?
So the take was, a man could be dating multiple women, but he'd generally be intentional with only one. King, what's your thoughts?
Come on,
don't
be shy.
We gotta get you on the cameras, bro.
Chastity, I think largely that's true. I think because you told me this before, where the idea of, initially you said everybody's struggling to find commitment. I don't think that's accurate. And I think the reason why is, you've said to me before, a study that said, if we gave you a person who had 80% of what we look for, would you commit? Most women said, why would I settle? You ask men, everyone says, hallelujah. You know what I mean? So I think in general, and the men are not struggling so much with commitment. I think what we're seeing is that a lot of women are struggling to get commitment from the caliber and quality of man they really desire. attracting is easy. It's retention is what's hard.
If you're loving this episode and these kinds of conversations, then I want to give you something. We recently launched the Kits Angels community. This is a sisterhood for women who are tired of what the dating scene has given them and are ready to take their love lives to the next level. It's a space for you as a woman to not be alone in your journey to love, where we learn, talk, and share our experiences as part of a strong sisterhood, with some leadership and guidance from yours truly, of course. Not to mention never before seen videos from me on how I've led dozens of women to meeting great men. And so as a thank you for watching this episode, I'm giving you a month's membership completely complimentary on me. Just click the Kits Angels link below, and when you join the group, message me the code phrase Angels Podcast and I will pay for your membership. Now back to the episode.
Well said. Well said. Well said. I'd love to get a lady's thoughts on that. A lady's thoughts. We've got some very intelligent women in the room, so please do not be shy. Do you have any ladies' thoughts on that? Is that true? Anyone for any more?
There we go.
A lady over here.
Got a lady over here.
Yeah, tomorrow. Yeah, can we get? Oh, yeah, go on. Yeah.
Can we bring the mic?
We'll go to you, and then tomorrow we'll come to the front.
Can we all stand up when you do a speech?
Yeah. We need to get you on the camera.
Yeah,
The camera's here. Go for it. Please introduce yourself for us.
Hey, girl.
Hello.
This is Misty, everyone.
Hello, Misty. So King said very articulately.
So many things like before you as well. That was just like, shit.
The idea that if a man is seeing multiple women, he's usually serious about what? I think the second idea is everybody struggling with.
Yeah.
All right, well, tell us. What do you think? What do you think?
Because how can you be intentional about one person and you're so open to the whole world? Like, you could see 5 people at the same time and your intention. Can we define intention, please? Because you only get there.
Okay, Chrissy, I think that's great. Go on, let's get King response, and then I want to give response to one move on. Go.
Yeah. And this is not to make it into anything weird. But in general, the male imperative tends to favor variety quite easily. Right? Everybody has a need for that.
I can see someone disagreeing. We'll come to you.
Generally, as we've seen society and history as proof, men find that easier. So when I say it's possible for a person to be serious about one person and intentional while dating multiple people, as someone who has literally lived that life before, there are maybe 3 women who you're just having a good time with. But there's somebody here you take out and you're being serious with. And over time, you drop off other people and get focused on more buzz. So it's possible to do that depending on the amount of time you're doing it for. Does that make sense?
I'll text that, and we will come back to you. I 30 seconds, go for it, and I want to say something.
Cool, because I feel like, when you said it's easier for men to commit, I don't agree with that. Women are pressured by society to be with someone. A lot of women actually are easily pressured. Therefore, they feel like they need a partner. Sometimes when they get 40%, they'll settle. So I felt like when you gave an example before, you're like, oh yeah, but there's different kinds of women, like Suki and myself, that were like, we don't need to settle for shit. But a lot of women are settling for so less, and it's so bad.
So bad.
I just feel.
Okay, I hear you. So I want to come on settling. Okay. So I think, and thank you for your perspective, Chrissy and King. We appreciate you. I think one thing we need to understand, I think this is really going to help the women in the room understand that men and women invest differently. Women invest with their sexual time. Men invest with their non-sexual time. So let me give you this example to really outline this. In this scenario, who is the girl taking romantically, interested in? The guy who maybe comes over on the weekend, he helps her move some stuff. Maybe they read together, but nothing physical happens. Or the guy that she goes out with Friday night, they have a lovely night together, she's intimate with him, and then maybe she leaves the following morning. Who is she clearly interested in? The second one, absolutely. Let's reverse it. Who is the man actually investing in? The woman that he is spending time with. They go for walks there, sharing, conversations, right? They're getting close in that sense. Or the girl he goes around the house Friday night, they sleep together, and then he dips the following morning. Who is he actually investing in?
Sorry, could go back to the women's example. Yeah. So you're saying that as women, sorry, I will be polite, but you're saying if I'm seeing a guy and he's coming round to move my furniture, we're just spending quality time, there's no sexual time.
Yes.
And there is another guy that I see on a Friday night and I leave the next morning. The second guy is the guy I take seriously?
Whoever you're being physically intimate with is who you're more interested in. Well, we can come to that. We can come to that. So the reason I really want to outline this, right, is because this is why the classic case happens where I'm sure, there's plenty of attractive women in the room, where your man, the guy who you were friends with, declared his love for you. Right? Because as a man, we go, well, I'm spending this time with you. I'm being emotionally vulnerable with you, right? Of course, I'm going to grow feelings for you because that is how we invest. Whereas equally, this is why the opposite happens, where you have a consenting man and woman. They agree it's a friends with benefits. We're just having fun. But at some point, she grows feelings for him. And for a lot of women, they then kick themselves. Why am I growing feelings for this man? I knew what it was. And they think there's something wrong with them. Ladies, there's nothing wrong with you. That is how you bond with a man. And so to try and pretend, and there's this whole narrative of saying women can date like men and get the same results. And it's false. I'm sorry. It's not true. Right? And that's because we invest differently. We bond differently. Right? And so I think this is why, coming back to why men can, I think it was Chrissy who said, okay, how can a man be seeing one woman, but then he's open to elsewhere? Because who he sleeps with is not who he's taking seriously. It's who he spends time with where sex is off the table. That's who he's taking seriously. And as men, we know we can spend all the time in the world with her. If she's not being physical with us, she doesn't like us. Okay. I want to get to somewhere else. But Sukaina, what do you think about that?
I mean, I agree with you about the whole, we bond differently. Absolutely, we do bond differently. And I think that's actually very important for women to know because it really depends on how you are as a woman, I feel like. For example, some women sleep with men earlier on. Some women like to wait till marriage. There's no right or wrong here. Everyone's different, right? But I feel like that just makes us as women realize that we need to be more critical.
100%.
And
you have to vet.
You need to be vetting men carefully. You need to have a really strong internal system where you're like, this is a red flag. This is moving too fast. This doesn't feel right. So yeah, we bond differently. And it means that we need to be protecting ourselves. And I don't want to say shielding, but definitely being selective with who we're kind of letting into our space. 100%.
And I just want to say, this is me saying, okay, ladies, you be physical with a man on the first date. Anyone who's watched my content knows I advocate against that, right? But it's about recognizing, okay, how is this person actually investing? And being physical does not mean sleeping with each other. Being physical can be a hand and a leg when we're watching something. Being physical can be, maybe you do have a peck on your cheek at the end of the day. Being physical does not mean necessarily sex. It means physical affection, that level of affection.
I have a question.
Yeah, I was going to say, the floor is yours. Okay? The floor is yours.
Okay. So, obviously, in your experience and working with females, why do you think women have such a hard time initiating any kind of physical intimacy?
You want an honest truth?
Go on, give it to us.
I think women are terrified of rejection.
Okay.
This is why women are scared to approach.
Mm-hmm.
This is why they're like, no, you have to come to me. I'm not asking you out. You ask me out. Now, any of my ladies who you've seen my stuff, there's a way you can invite a man to pursue you. And I'm just being honest as well, and gents, you can either chime in here or leave me on the island to burn. But as men, rejection is part of the masculine experience. It's how we learn. It's how we grow. We can't escape rejection. If we want to avoid rejection, we don't make it anywhere. It is very rare, especially if a woman is attractive, to ever be rejected sexually. In my personal experience, some women do not handle that rejection well. Because it's like, you're saying no to me?
Yeah.
And so I think there's an element of, because the irony is, I think in terms of rejection, ladies, you are more likely to not be rejected, because even if a man was only semi-interested, if a woman makes an initiation with him physically, most guys are going to take it.
Okay.
They're going to say yes. So the reason I think women are maybe scared to actually initiate a physical, attraction is because, and ladies chime in, I think a lot of women think, well, if he liked me, he would.
Who's ever made the first move, ladies? I want to see. Show of hands. Let's hear from her.
Let's hear for it. Do we get the mic?
Tell us everything.
So my name's Sabia, and I don't know if I agree. You said okay, kids. I think especially when it comes to initiating sex, I think we as women are not informed about our own pleasure. I think sex is mainly in discourse, in education about everything is about male pleasure. So I don't think a lot of women have the space to ask themselves the question of like, oh, when or what do I actually like when it comes to, sex, romance, etc. I think that is a really big part of the kind of dance that we do in heteronormative, space. I personally don't find it very scary to go to someone if I find them attractive. But I think maybe I'm the odd one out. But I do think that is something that we don't tend to ask ourselves. Oh, can we be? It's also because if we come across as assertive, that is sometimes seen as intimidating. So we don't want to do that, right? So I think there are a lot of things that we are, as women, navigating in a society, rather than it being afraid of rejection or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to clarify, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Do you feel that most women are, the reason maybe they don't approach and initiate is because they're not informed about as in terms of their power, their sexuality? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I think initially you started the conversation about like, why do we think women don't initiate sex, right?
Well, yes, you can ask, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I think that's specifically, I have a lot of friends, female friends, that we talk about sex and we just like, I don't really know, or like it took me a long time to figure out what I like. So there is this never a question that we are being asked.
Yeah.
Ourselves or like our partners. I think for like in general, I think that's not really a conversation that we're having a lot. Because it's so taboo, right? And I think that's a really big thing as well.
So you just
I get that. No, I think. Well, did I say that?
Well, because you said why don't women approach? Why don't they initiate? But Avina said what they actually do.
I think what she's trying to say is basically because we've been conditioned to kind of suppress our desires growing up, it's almost like we've been shamed to even have urges as women. It's like we can't be proud, we can't own it. I think a lot of women have kind of internalized that and they've just not been able to kind of express that. They don't feel that they can express that freely because we've suppressed it so much. So we're just kind of like, that's the man's job. Like, we're not doing that. He can initiate. I'm not putting myself out there.
I think we have to differentiate between a man she's already seeing and in a relationship with versus a man that she isn't. And so when I'm talking about, and correct me if I'm wrong, when I'm talking about initiating, like making the approach, I do believe, because as men, even though we make the approach, we're scared of rejection too. But we have to get over that, otherwise nothing's going to happen. So I think in terms of initiating the approach, I think mainly because one, if you're an attractive woman, there's a lot of instances you didn't have to initiate, but you're probably not used to it in that sense in the beginning, having to initiate, especially initiating the sex in the beginning. But I could be wrong. Like, let's see a show of hands. How many ladies would feel comfortable approaching a man? You're not dating, but actually making the approach. So maybe one, maybe two. So if we probably got maybe 20, 25 ladies in the room, and maybe only 1 or 2, 3, maybe making that approach.
At least they're being honest.
At least they're 100%. And there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it.
Do you know what it is? I just want to add something onto this while we're on the topic of, women fearing that rejection and that's why they don't approach men. There's something else that I feel like we don't talk about enough, is that there is a bit of a stigma around women going up to men or it's sort of like, oh, you're throwing yourself at a man. There is a bit of a stigma, and we don't really talk about that too much. Because some men, I think it's from men. I think it's from the patriarchy, 100%. Let's not lie. Because if you ask a lot of men, like, how do you feel about a girl like coming up to you and like, laying it on thick? The guy's going to be a bit like, oh, I'm not sure.
That is not true. That is not you. Okay, so let's go to, let's find out. Let's find out. Let's show a show of hands, right? So Sukaina thinks that a lot of women are shamed for approaching men by men. As a man, and the men in the room, if a woman that approached you, even if you didn't find her attractive, would you be like ill, or how would you respond? Let's say a show of hands if you would actually accept that approach. Most of the men actually put their hands up. I completely agree. Honestly, I'll be honest. I think where a woman has actually approached me in my life, I can probably count on 2 hands. And whether I found her attractive or not, it was always welcome, because as men, we don't expect it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, oh, actually, she actually had the courage. She made herself known.
But there is a little bit, I would say there is definitely a part of you that probably doubts it or feels a bit uncomfortable.
No, there isn't. I think, and here's the thing, and
I'm not buying it.
I think
I'm not buying it.
I'll be honest. Like, let's say the example of, the shaming of the approach. I think that stigma comes from women. It doesn't come from men, because men, we welcome that, right? It's like the whole thing, say, quote unquote, slut shaming. Okay. If we think of a man, because we know most men are pursuing sex, right? The idea of a slut is a woman who gives sex easily. That's the woman he wants.
No.
So no. What I mean is that is the woman he will engage with. If you have a man, he's only looking for something casual. He's going to be looking to invite the kind of woman who also has a casual relationship to sex. He's not going to shame her for it. It doesn't work in his best interest, even selfishly. Question.
I think that's line.
Yeah, I'm not buying it.
Right. I don't know what you mean. The thing is, like, you're telling me, however many shows you see and how many things, when men sit with women, they go, what's your help? To women. And then if they got even more than double wheels, there's like, no, you stop too many men. But men, we don't have that problem.
So what I'm saying is this. I didn't say he would take her seriously.
So why is it encouraged?
Sure, you said, if whoever she sleeps with, he lied. I'm like, no, that's not how it works.
No, what I'm saying is that if a man is looking for something casual, right, he's going to prioritize the woman who has a casual relationship to sex, because the woman who doesn't have a casual relationship to sex cannot have something casual with her.
That's true. But then you said he prioritized one woman out of the 5 that he's seeing, that you just said. So he's sleeping with 3 women. This woman he's also sleeping with, taking her on the date, blah, blah, blah. So why waste your time on this woman when you're sleeping with 3? Why don't you just not have a relationship with one of the 3 so you sleep?
Because both things can be true. So a man can want a woman seriously, but he can be dating another woman casually. So for example, this is why they call it shagaloof, right? Because men and even women, they don't go there to find wives and husbands. They go there to have fun. So if you're a man, I'm going on a lad's holiday and I want to go and have fun. I'm not going to Dubai. Well, to be fair, you might go to Dubai. We're not going to, for example, a country that has very strict rules about sexuality, about liberalism. They're going to go to a country where it embraces that. And so what I'm saying is the whole thing of quote unquote slut shaming The man who's only looking for a casual relationship to sex, he would never shame her for that because that goes against his imperative if he's looking for something casual. Now, when he's looking for something serious, he may not necessarily shame it. He will just not invest in her seriously. And if there's a man in here who disagrees with me, say your hand. If there's a man who agrees, towards me, King. Yep, so could we get the mic over that?
I think I agree with a number of the points everybody made. Sukaina, you made a point about women being reluctant to approach sexually. And I think any experienced man will probably validate this. It's the idea that if men knew and more importantly embraced just how horny women actually are, we would skim up a lot of our prejudices. Because we have all these stigmas and all these pressures that ultimately stop women from being sexually expressive. I think what happens then is, even though they've got just as many needs as us, they then feel like if they were to put themselves out there, they're going to be instantly categorized, she's out. So even though they may be wanting something serious with you, and if she wants something serious with you, she's also going to want to get jiggy with you. But she may be reluctant on that particular front because she doesn't want you to judge her. Now, any man who is experienced with women will also know the less judgmental you are, the more of a freak you get to see her. In this. So you look very dirty about the see there's colors. So, on the one hand, women are curious to learn about their sexuality. It's true. On the other hand, they're scared of rejection. But on the third hand, we've got these structures that, for all of a better word, paralyze them from being sexually expressive.
Yeah.
I think that's very true.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. I do.
Thank you.
One quick thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Last thing, Mr.
Oh, that's sorry. Okay. So this is really kind of back to the women, I'll probably say. Like, I feel that don't put so much emphasis on initiation. Because it could just be you looking at a man for 2 seconds longer than you ordinarily would if you're interested in it. It's subtle things like that. I always tell people in my family, but women, stop using your mobile phone in public all the time. Look up. Your husband is going past you, your boy, bro, Steve. Stop navigating your phone next where you're supposed to be somebody. There's no such thing. If you're out in a space, that's an environment. So that's all I'm really going to say about that. It's just making sure that, you have to have this open-mindedness, because sometimes if you go against the grain, you often get the duel that you're looking for. And that's what I'd say.
I agree.
I like that. Thank you.
Love some great takes. As we are approaching the end, I want us to end on a high note, okay? Well, we taught some stuff, debated some stuff. I hope everybody's going to think some things. I think what would be great, Sukaina, what do you think women can be doing better to help find the kind of relationship they want? Or what rather, let's actually take accountability for our side. What do you think women can be doing better? And I'm going to say what I believe men could also be doing better. Why don't you start?
I feel like women need to be trusting themselves more when it comes to making decisions, like learning to build that inner trust and like having like a really strong vetting process. Because a lot of women are kind of picking men and later realizing, oh my God, there's so many red flags, there's this. So I feel like women need to start getting a bit more kind of like thinking critically, like, okay, here's a criteria, this is what I want, and this is what I need, and this is what I'm wanting from a connection. Because I feel like if you're vague about these things, you're going to be in the gray zone. You're going to get the emotionally unavailable guy. You're going to get put in the friend zone. I don't know, like you're going to be in gray zones. So I feel like you need to get specific on what it is you want, and then be putting that energy out there and be working on yourself to attract that kind of man that you want. And there's nothing wrong with women having standards. Keep them high.
So it sounds like, understanding the choosing for the right qualities.
Yeah.
Choosing for the right qualities, not getting lost in the sauce.
Exactly.
There is these Swiss. What can men do better? I'm sure every woman has an opinion on this. Men with girl.
I want to know.
You want to know? I think as men, we need to stop validating behaviors in women that we wouldn't choose for our wives. Because I think a lot of the time, for example, I remember we had this conversation with our podcast. You asked me, you're like, but why will a guy
like this, provocative photo of this woman, but yet, he doesn't want me to post that.
Yeah.
Right. And we as men know, well, because one's for play, one's for serious. However, I think by us validating the kind of behaviors we wouldn't choose in a wife is actually misleading for a lot of women, because they go, so what is it you actually want? Because I show up in this way and I get a lot of attention, but then I'm getting that attention and validation, but yet you're not going to invest seriously in me, and now you're emotionally unavailable. And so I think one thing we have to recognize, this goes for men and women, is that the more we can validate and actually celebrate the qualities in the partner that we want as wives and husbands, the more the other gender will aspire to be that. So for example, as a woman, if you are going for the guy because he's got a lot of money, he provides this lifestyle, then that is what men are going to lead with. Because you are telling them, well, this is what we respond to. As men, if you are giving the attention, validation to, if you're saying a woman who's very sexually out there, very provocative, right? Even if for you it's casual, women are going to lead with that, because you are saying, this is what I respond to. And so I think one thing that we for sure as men have to do is we need to stop validating the behaviors that we then simultaneously say, yeah, but I wouldn't choose her as a wife. It doesn't make sense.
So kind of similar in a way, but just like in a different way. It's about you guys knowing what you want as well, and maybe not just falling.
Well, I think we know
for looks, and
I think we know what we want. I think what can happen is sex has always sold to men. It's the oldest profession. But I think especially nowadays, where there is so much focus on the surface level, there's so much focus on sex. A lot of women saying that, a lot of men are not husband material. What are men doing today? A lot of men saying that women are not wifely material, a lot of girlfriend material. And I think it's because we validate the wrong things in each other. Ultimately, you have to decide, okay, I understand I can do this, I can indulge in this. But then when you think about meaning and legacy, you have to think, well, what is the example that I need to set? And I think as well, I do think it's unfortunate. We've become so individualistic in our society that we go, well, as long as this is good for me now, then it's fine. And I've been guilty of that.
Yeah.
But we have to start thinking more as a community. Thinking, okay, how does this benefit this person? So for example, as guys, I'm sure some guys have had this situation where maybe you were with a girl and you did establish, hey, it's just going to be physical. Right? And she starts to get feelings. And you're like, yeah, but I said it's just going to be physical. So I'm not the bad guy here. You're not the bad guy. But are you helping?
I also have a quick question on that one.
Go for it.
Why isn't he dating the girl who also wants that? Why is he dating the girl who clearly wants a relationship, and then he's doing that with her?
Well, I
want to know.
So if he should always say, of course. So if he establishes this is what it is, he's like, cool. You choose it. You either choose it or you leave it.
But
right?
Why doesn't he go and seek out the person who is also looking for just a fun relationship?
Well, if she engages with that after he's established that, then she say to him that I'm happy to engage in this situation. I think the difference is, and I've spoken to ladies who fall into this as well, and it's with well intention, but a lot of women think they can change his mind. You can't.
Yeah, I disagree with that.
Anything a man tells you that you do not want to hear, he is telling you the truth. Because there is no incentive for him to lie to you about something that you don't want to hear. But what I was going to say about, thank you.
It got suddenly so serious in here.
But I do think it's important as men. I am going to hold some responsibility on the men because, we say all the time, we're supposed to be the leaders. So we have to be able to take responsibility to, okay, what am I contributing here? Right. And this takes a level of maturing and takes a level of experience for sure. But we have to be honest and be like, okay, well, if I'm not getting what I'm looking for, maybe because I'm contributing to the wrong thing. And ladies, you have to ask yourself that same question too. If I'm not looking for if I'm not getting what I'm looking for, what am I contributing that maybe isn't helping that? Now, if you're getting what you're looking for, then fine. But I assume we're all here because we're all trying to do better. And it takes responsibility on both sides to do that.
Yeah, 100%. What a great way to end it.
And we're gonna wrap it there. Can we give a round of applause to everybody in this room?
Thank you. Thanks for coming out. Thank you.
Thanks.
Round of applause to our amazing guest, Sukaina, tonight. Thank you. I want to thank everybody who's spoken here. You know, I know we've done some contentious topics, but this is important, right? We're here to build bridges and find connection and bring men and women together better, but it's going to require these kind of conversations. So thank you all for coming. Thank you to Second Home for hosting. The bar is going to be open for any drinks, right? If you met someone new tonight, make some new connections.
Yeah.
And I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much, guys.